What did I just do here? You know, of all the times I've been out there, and sometimes when I ponder, what the hell am I doing out there? Remember when I first started doing this? I mean, I wasn't out on the street but a couple of days. I'm going back 6 years. And that's when I had my first rinky-dink cart. And this cop comes up in a scooter. And he gets in my face and he goes, "Do you really think anything you're going to do is going to change anything?" And my response was, well, hell no. But is that any reason for me to not try? Well, here 6 years later, I'm still trying. And I've run into people out there that I never know what spark I've ignited here. I never know where they're going to take what I've said and where it's going to go. But this video right here pretty much encompasses everything I've been trying to do out there. And I don't know where it might go or what it might do. But you're going to meet an extraordinary young man. And he's going to take what I've given him, something he's never heard before, and he's going to take it to 194 countries. You say you can't influence, you think you're just one person, you can't do anything? You don't know till you try, do you? Well, I'm out there trying. And I can't do this alone, even though I am. I need your help. I need your help. So, if you like this video, keep me out there, will you? Like it, share it, subscribe, and support. It's a spiritual battle fought with material means, and I need you to give me the materials to stay out there. So I hope you enjoy this video. It's one of the most poignant ones I think I've ever done. And who knows where it might go. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Let's get on the street. And where do you live in Colombia? Where are you from?
I'm from the coast, but I live in the border between Colombia and Venezuela. And yes, but because the work of my family, and recently I just moved to Bogota. I'm an architect.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, so I'm working there, and now I'm currently traveling through the world. I'm traveling through 194 countries.
Holy mackerel! What a trip!
I'm connecting 1 million of people with this message. Together we can change the world.
Wonderful.
So, yes, so I'm finding stories in each country of people that are doing different kind of things. And I show that stories in my Instagram account in a book that I'm writing. So
how wonderful. That is a great thing to do. Congratulations. I think that's a worthy effort. I'm doing sort of the same thing, staying in one spot.
Yes, that's why I came here, because I saw that and I thought that maybe your story is interesting, so
yes.
I want to hear about that.
Well, there's a book called Narcissus and Goldman. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's about a journey where a young man takes a journey all over the place around the world, but then he winds up settling next to a river, and everything in the world comes by him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you do the same, but here?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's amazing.
Yeah, indeed. Basically, I'm doing the same kind of message, that we are all connected and that we can all go ahead and find a common core and ground, and get past what the powers that be would like to do is to separate us, to put us in a separation.
Yes.
And that we can, I think each one of us have that spark that we can go ahead and connect with God.
Yes.
So it's a great thing that you're doing.
Oh, wow. You too. What's your name?
I'm Michael.
I'm Alvaro. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, and what's your Instagram?
Oh, Alv. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to give you one of my bracelets.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much.
So this is my Instagram. Alv. A-L-V. D-A-Z-A.
Terrific.
Yes, so this is like a red line that is connecting all the people who are destined to change the world. Yes, so this represents our diversity, which is the most important thing in the world that we have. And it goes in your left hand because it's near your heart. And it's not like a prize, it's a commitment for doing the world a better place each day you live.
You look up.
Terrific. And here's my card. It's a get out of jail free card from Hillary Clinton.
Oh, wow. Magnific. Thank you.
Sorry.
So there's right now you're living close to the border of Venezuela, and Venezuela, of course, is going through a lot of turmoil.
Yes.
And I've talked to other people in Colombia and say there's a lot of refugees coming over.
Yes.
And,
for example, just in Cúcuta, which is the city between the border, we receive almost 1.5 million of inhabitants from Venezuela.
Right.
Wow, that's really, really sad, because most people are coming, just running out from Venezuela because the poverty situation.
Oh, it's horrible.
Also
it's horrible.
all the things that are happening there. Oh, because the ambition of few people that they just want power.
How is Colombia coping with them? How are they doing? How is your country coping? Are they absorbing these people in? Are they creating a problem? What's happening?
No, the things that first they were like creating a problem, of course, because we were not prepared for receiving them. But 2 years ago, the government just started running like national policy for attending those refugees. So we're creating employing opportunities. For example, we're also giving like national IDs for them, and also we are like permitting to in the universities for them. And so we are creating different kind of opportunities. But there's a lot of people, for example, that they don't have where to live, where to eat, or things to do. And
I would think that it would be easier for them to assimilate into your culture because there's a lot of,
yes.
I'm going to say languages and,
Also, we were the same country.
Yeah.
Like 200 years ago.
Exactly. So, it's not like you're... it's not like they, with their experience in Europe, where a lot of Africans are just going up to a totally different culture, and having a hard time simulating.
The difference, I think that the top difference between Colombian and Venezuelan people is that they have like consumption rhythm, a different consumption rhythm. So we were not accustomed to consumption because we were poor as a country during almost 60 years. and then we start to realize that we can do a lot of things, so we start to build new business and new things. But they were rich because, you know, the oil. And so they were rich all the time, so they were consuming a lot of things all the time. And when they get bad, so, you know,
now,
they start like a mental crisis.
Right.
So when they came here, so they are all the time depressed and frustrated and all. So
understandable.
Yes. So it's hard for us because we are like a happy country. Yeah. We face the violence for a lot of years, so we constant to face the difficulties and to stay happy all the time. But they don't because they were rich, so that's the top difference.
Yes. Now, Colombia, well, all of Central and South America, but Colombia in particular also has always been known and had a problem with the drug cartels.
Yes.
Are they still very much a problem there, or have they waned some? What's happening with the...
Not now. Actually, we really had a big problem in the past years, like 10 or 15 years ago.
Yes.
Especially because 25 years ago we had Pablo Escobar life.
Yes.
So it was a really, really big damage to our country. Actually, you see that in Netflix series like Narcos.
Right, exactly.
I hate that series as well.
Really?
Yes, I hate that because they put a lot of prejudices in the mind of people, you know, about Colombian people. So that's bad for me because when I start a conversation with people, most of people say, "Oh, I saw Narcos," and I say like, "Wow, we have Shakira, we have Carlos Vives, we have Juanes, we have the best coffee in the world."
Yes.
You mentioned that you saw Narcos.
Yeah, it's not just, I understand. I'm Italian. Every time I say, "Oh, mafia,"
Yes.
You know, can tend
and so now it's not like a big problem, but we still have like small cartels in Colombia.
Yeah, well, every place is going to always have that criminal element.
Yes.
And especially as long as you keep the drugs illegal, which to me, I think, and I say I'm in the vein where when they should make drugs legal, educate people what they do to you.
Yes.
And then if you're dumb enough to still want to do them, well, that's your problem. You know, you're old, you know, you're educated, you're old enough, you're an adult, you know.
And you must know what kind of things are good for you.
And again, I think the powers that be use the illegality of the drugs to suppress people. They make, in other words, they'll partner with the, you know, the El Chapos and the, you know,
yes, of course,
to go ahead and make money on the back door and suppress the people.
Of course.
So it works very horribly that way too.
That's
against
bad.
The people.
That's bad.
But I think people are waking up. Are you finding that in your travels? What are you finding? What are you seeing? How is your how many countries have you been to already?
Oh, this is the 57th day from while I'm traveling. This is the 57th day, and I've been in 9 countries.
9? So this is you basically just start now.
Yes, because I started in Panama. So I had a first goal. The explanation is that I had a first goal because before of this, I was the executive director of a thing in Colombia that is called Entrepreneurship Alliance. So we impacted 3,000 entrepreneurs in 2 years. But the thing is that those entrepreneurs were people with privileges, you know? So that's like the normal stories that you hear about people. And when I say the media and also to those people that we need to tell another kind of stories, they say like, okay, I'm not privileged by that, or maybe that's not like an interesting thing. So I say, okay, I'm gonna do that alone. And I'm gonna travel in my first goal through 8 countries, putting or showing 2,000 stories in 50 days. You know, I say that. And I say, and I'm gonna finance all my trip with these bracelets.
Wonderful.
Yes. And they say like, okay.
Now, how do people help you in this? I mean, how can they help you?
At the beginning, like my mom, my mom said like, okay, I support you. And a friend, which who support me with 500 bracelets, because he bought me the bracelets because he make possible for me to give to the people the bracelets,
right.
you know, for free. And so he bought me 500 bracelets, so I started my trip, I bought my flight ticket, and I started that. And I made in 49 days, after Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Salvador, Honduras, Belize, and Mexico, I had 2,011 stories in the 49 days.
Tell me one that sticks out in your mind the most. What is one that...
Oh, wow. There's
I know it's
stories,
hard to pick
yes.
out one, but
I can't stop talking about this story. This is a transsexual girl who I met in Costa Rica. I met a transsexual girl in Costa Rica while I was going in the bus to the Nicaraguan border. And so this girl just seated beside me, and I start talking to her about all the things related with my trip. And I saw her and I said, like, okay, you must have an interesting story. And she said, I don't have an interesting story. I have a regular story. And I said, come on, tell me your story.
Can you be a transsexual and have a regular story? That doesn't even sound right on it.
Yes. So she started telling me. So she said, like, okay, I'm 20 years old. I started my transitioning 2 years ago, and I was waiting like a waiter in that time, like a waiter. And the owner of the restaurant proposed me to buy the restaurant, but I didn't have money. So he proposed me to pay him with my work. While I was a waiter, so I could give a part of my salary to him, and also maybe I can ask for some money to the bank, you know. So he started 2 years before working, and in the middle of the first year, he started his transition to her. But the thing is that at the end of the 2 years, she bought the restaurant and she opened another restaurant.
Okay.
And she has 20 years old. And she started to study in the university business administration, because she wants to know how to manage the restaurants.
Right.
You know, now she's the owner at 20. She's the owner of 2 restaurants. She's studying business administration. Now she's not he, but she. So she has a really interesting story, you know.
Do you find that? I mean, okay.
That's weird. But I have another kind of stories. For example, this girl from Mexico, she's an indigenous. And she moved to Mexico City when she was 14 years old. And she didn't speak Spanish as well, because in Mexico there's a lot of indigenous cultures that does not speak Spanish, in Oaxaca especially.
Okay.
So she moved there with her family because they were displaced from the land. And her mom was working like a housekeeper, you know, in a Christian family. So the shepherds of the family of the church told her how to speak Spanish, and she studied in a public school, then a public university, and then she asked the government to send her to the UN Nations Assembly. You know, this program that is for Jewish people. But Mexico didn't send her because she was indigenous and she came from a poor family. In Latin America, they just send the rich families, you know, to these assemblies and to these things. So she sent a letter directly to the UN Nations, and the UN Nations gave her an internship, and she was like an intern like for almost 1 year, and after that the UN envoy for the youth invited her to work with him like the global assessor or advisor for the indigenous and youth in the 2030 agenda. So the things that when I met her 10 days ago, from when I met her, I mean like 1 month ago, she was invited by the new president of Mexico to work with him as his advisor for the Agenda 2030 in Mexico. and she has 25 years old.
Okay,
Yes.
now here's I'm gonna throw a roadblock on you here. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna throw a stone in front of this.
Okay.
What you are bringing up, I am adamantly opposed against for this reason. Agenda 21, which is originally started out, is a proposal for a one-world government. It is about a eugenics program to reduce the world's population.
Wow. The agenda 20.
2030 is an agenda to reduce the world's population.
Wow.
It's a eugenics program.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Please tell me more.
Yes. What we are facing is a future. Let me start out by saying that the elites, the ones that have been controlling most of the world's resources for the past 1,500 years or longer, have only kept us around for one reason. They needed slave labor. That's why, you have the elites in the countries that you've been passing through that keep the indigenous people down and uneducated and all, because they need slave labor. They don't want educated people. People start getting educated, all of a sudden they're going to realize that these guys are taking advantage of us. We're going to have a revolution on our hands. So they keep the people down. Robotic AI technology is replacing all the slave labor.
Yes.
They don't need us anymore. So their agenda is to use otherwise what would be looked upon as positive, enlightening programs to suck people in, good people in, to work for them, to get to a point where they can go ahead and have the people, through programs like global warming, which is a total hoax, to go ahead and suck the people in, to go ahead and then living in city-states, and bring everything back to nature. Well, when they do that, of course, they're going to go ahead and feed us the poisons, which they do for GMO foods and the poison vaccines. These are all called soft kill weapons. There's something called the Georgia Guidestones. That's here in the United States in Elbington, Georgia. 1974, this very tall, distinguished European man walks into the Elbington Granite Factory and goes, "Here's a bunch of money. I want you to build a monolith and on this monolith is going to have the 4 dictates or 10 dictates for the future of mankind."
Wow.
They're still there. There's 4 20-foot slab granite stones, and the 8 different languages carved into these stones are the dictates for the future. The number 1 dictate states this: maintain the world's population at no more than 500 million in accordance with nature. Agenda 2030 wants to reduce the world's population to 500 million by 2030.
500 million.
500 million.
Wow. That's like 10 or 12 times.
That means 6.5 billion of us have to die.
Wow.
And they're going to do it for they're going to do it for the release of viruses, war, starvation.
Wow.
So 2030, what she's working for, with your friend, that lady is working for, is for her own demise. Now, they might even suck people in like that and say, look, you're going to be with us. You're going to be part. Don't worry, because you're working with us, even though you found out our secret, you're going to be part of the crowd. We're going to let you in.
Yes.
All you have to do is go along with it. Go along with killing all these people. It's okay. You'll be alive.
Yes.
So I would highly recommend to go ahead and look into things like this. and look into the dark side of the UN, look into the dark side of Agenda 2030. Because these things are, you remember that the devil puts up facades. He make, even churches that are, might preach good, but they're actually working against us. And the UN and Agenda 21 is that program.
Wow.
I hate to bust your bubble.
No, it's good.
But there's a reason you ran into me.
Yes. And that's the reason why I'm traveling actually as well.
Because you don't want to hear just all one side.
Yes,
you want to hear a lot of it.
Yes.
Even with the transgender thing, it's about confusing us.
Yes.
It's about, even in New York right now, they passed a law in New York where there's no gender on the birth certificates. They're going to allow the children to pick their gender.
Wow.
I mean, this is, this is all about confusing them and throwing us in, getting us off of center, getting us off of our humanity, getting off our basics, which has made us what we have been forever. And then to go ahead and confuse us, control us, and so with the whole global warming thing, because right, they're trying to make CO2 the boogeyman. That's the bad thing, right?
Yes.
Ooh, we got to reduce our CO2 carbon footprint. But the basic science tells you this. CO2 is an element of life. Plants breathe it in. The more CO2, the bigger and faster plants grow. The bigger and faster they grow, the more food we have to eat.
Oh, wow.
So by reducing the carbon levels, we reduce the food. It's part of Agenda 2030 to starve the people.
Yes.
So that's part of the program. In other words, they're getting us to work for our own death. So we're going to save the planet. No, you're not. You're killing the planet. You're going to kill the plants. Plus, plants breathe out what? Oxygen. So here they're trying to kill plants and people and telling us on the opposite end, we're here to save the planet. Bull! It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. They're throwing lies at us, getting us to fight for our own demise.
Wow. That's a lot of information for me. But
that's why I'm here.
Yes. That's why we met.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
And I have to accept that.
Yes.
And that's good. Actually, and wow.
Yeah, so on your studies, as you're going around looking at this, keep this in mind and see if this program, because it's working in every, you can remember the people that are involved with this are at the very top of the pyramid in this world. And so there in many countries and many leaders are psychopaths. And they're on board with this. Because I can see it coming. They know robotics, AI technology is going to reduce the workforce.
Yes.
So, I asked a Harvard economics professor out here one day, what is robotic AI technology going to do to the people walking the street here in the next 10 years? Yeah. He says, well, 50% of them will be out of work.
Yes.
And I says, well, what are we going to do with all those out-of-work people?
Yes.
He looked at me cold and said these words. In the past, we've killed you.
Okay. Wow. Thanks.
All right.
Great to meet you. Wow. So amazing. Michael, thanks for
thank you.
Your words, for your time, and for your information.
Thank you. How long is this trip going to take you to go through 100
2 years.
2
but
years.
In the United States, 2 months.
2 months?
Yes. So I'm going to take you a photo with the bracelet.
Yes.
So you have that?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To tell your story, absolutely. It's really nice. And I will feel proud of talking about your point of view. Thanks.
Okay, right.
Thanks for that.
All right, brother.
Have a nice day.
Oh, yeah. You just made my day.
Yes, you too. You too.
Right.
You too, for sure. Because I just arrived like 4 hours ago. And you know, you're like my first story here in New Orleans. And it's a really, really nice story. I think that it's going to open the eyes of a lot of people.
I hope so.
Maybe it's going to help a lot of people to understand.
I pray so.
Well,
God protect you in your travels, brother.
Amen. Amen. Thanks.
All right.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay, you want to help me? I don't know how many people he'll influence, but if you want to help me, go ahead and get to my PayPal, will you? Or go buy one of my designs. Thank you.